I'm David Hughes. I'm Assistant Head of Secondary Pastoral and House Parent for Nakia Day House. So I cycled from Darwin in the north of Australia down to Melbourne in the south with a friend of mine. It was approximately, well, just a little under 4,000 kilometres of cycling. Well, we had a few bits and pieces, but probably the biggest surprise was these are ski straps made by a company called Volley. They were recommended by everybody when we did our research, but we couldn't really figure out why, other than to strap things onto the bike and onto the racks. But actually they just came in so useful. We lashed the bikes up when we needed to maintain them and fix bits and pieces. When we were purifying water, we used these to hold our bags and so on. They were infinitely useful. Possibly the most unusual use was when we were camping and the ground was so hard we couldn't drive our tent stakes into the ground. So we ended up lashing our tent to these and finding big rocks and tying these to the rocks to stop our tents blowing away. So food was an interesting one. We often ate by the roadside, just pulling up. We had petrol stoves and our little titanium pots, and we'd just heat up whatever we had. We each carried about 15, 20 litres of food and maybe 8 litres of water a day, because sometimes we were quite remote. Probably the most interesting meal was a bit of a hybrid between Western food and Asian food maybe, where we got Maggi mee and diced in some kind of Chinese sausage or salami and some cheese and all sorts of other vegetables, and all boiled in together, and then pouring dehydrated mashed potato on the top. It was colloquially known as a food bomb. It was nutritious. Whether it was delicious remains to be seen. You can try yourself maybe. For water, we often had to purify, so we took our purifying equipment and we'd fill these up with water from whatever source we could find, the dirty water bag, and then drip feed it into a clean water bag. So that was how we made sure we had enough water while we were in the desert. So the guy I cycled with, he and I 26 years ago cycled across Ireland. It was a bit of an epic adventure for two 19-year-olds then, and in actual fact it was because of that adventure I ultimately met my wife. So it's been in our blood for a long time, cycle touring, and I guess COVID and a midlife crisis kind of made me think time to get the band back together, as it were, do something more epic. But with that, actually there was a wonderful opportunity to kind of give back to a community that's been so great to us over the years, and so we decided to raise money for World Bicycle Relief, and as of today we've raised about 35,000 ringgit, which is enough to pay for 57 bikes that go to students, people like midwives, so that they can commute in areas where infrastructure, transport infrastructure is poor, and they really act as kind of great time-saving devices, time machines if you will, so that students can get to school but also can get home, do their prep work or whatever other help they need to do around the house. Midwives can get to more remote communities, that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in having a look at our adventure or seeing a bit more about what World Bicycle Relief do, we have a website, www.twonumptiesonbikes.com. I always forget the on bikes, and the same Insta handle, 2numptiesonbikes.